3 NDEs. I have had one surface experience and 2 deep ones. I have been to heaven and to hell and personally resolved the apparent dichotomy of experiences. My first experience was at age 11. The wind was knocked out of me from a high swing set fall. My diaphragm was in shock. I couldn't move. What a terrifying moment. I couldn't breathe in. I could only breathe out, so I kept what little air I had in me. I was going to die. I finally accepted it and relaxed. I said goodbye to it all. I could feel the entire earth behind me. I could only move my eyes. Everything became more alive. The leaves in the trees grew greener. The blue of the sky grew bluer. I have never seen such beauty in nature before. Then I saw the past come up out of the ground, the last 400 years anyway. I became the nose of an old Native American. I could easily distinguish each type of tree by its smell alone. When strangers came to this land to claim it for their own, I gained a new perspective of the Native Americans versus the English. Also, it used to be fun to play soldier, but after seeing what I saw from the Civil War, I gained a new respect for human life. I didn't realize until much later that this experience happened to me on the 100th anniversary of the beginning of the Civil War, only 126 miles away. I was released from the earth and floated through different layers of the atmosphere. I felt a mature love surround me, a love beyond what I have experienced from my parents or even from my grandparents. A voice filled my head and said everything was okay. I surrendered to it. I was going home. Suddenly, there was an explosion of air shoved down my throat. I was back in my body. Delicious aromatic air filled my lungs, rejuvenating me. My second NDE was a deep one, happening at age 24 in 1974, while living in Colorado. I was given 3 prophetic warning dreams of a near-future traffic accident. Why, I don't know. I was powerless to stop it. It was a head-on collision. I was flung into the air, away from my motorcycle and out of my body. I saw my body crumple to the ground. My back was broken in 2 places. A cool gray fog enveloped me and swirled into a tunnel of light, taking me upward into the heavens. I felt this increasing love come to me, and at the same time a faint sound growing stronger and stronger, swelling up and surrounding me into a rich full HUUU. The hum was also centered inside me. A voice came forth from within the sound. This was like the drone of 1,000 prop-driven airplanes or extended rolling thunder. This voice felt like a great-grandfather's voice that loved me like a son. It knew everything about me and spoke it to me. Even my shortcomings were mentioned in love and understanding. Meanwhile, I was being taken over enormous pastoral landscapes and up into a huge alabaster temple at the top of a mountain. The HUUU permeated from everywhere inside. There were vast archways and pillars reaching up into a high vaulted dome. These seemed to be made of thick alabaster-type rock. They glowed from the inside out. I was led into one chamber that showed me things dealing with people who were asleep on earth yet learning here. I was led into the main chamber, where I beheld a light shining from a lectern. In this light were 7 beings of light connected to each other by the light. They were one, yet 7. The love leaping to me from these 7 faces of God reminded me of the experience I had when I was 11. It was familiar, and made me feel at home. The 7 beings of light spoke of one accord, inside my head, for the voice did not travel from across the room. They filled my head with their wisdom. As they spoke, it was as if the chamber disappeared, for the pictures they put in my head seemed to fill the whole room like a giant picture screen. The only difference was, I was in the picture myself, as if everything was alive around me. I was being shown the future of mankind. It was not a peaceful future from the start. It was disturbing and almost too incredible to bear. I had been so naive and idealistic. Now this was taken away from me, my innocence. I saw individual starvation and famine. I saw wars and pain and selfish manipulation, and bodies lying strewn all over huge battlefields. How can there be so much cruelty in the world? I thought and shook my head in dismay. I did not want to see this. Although there was a powerful fascination in seeing something like on such a large scale, there was no way I was going to participate in any of it. Then came a scene that was a crucial turning point for me. I saw a man in a cowboy hat riding furiously on the range along with cattle and other men with rifles. It was in black and white like some old cowboy movie. On this one man, my attention was drawn to the pale red letters RR emblazoned on his chest. "Who is this?" I asked. I did not have to use my mouth to speak. The voice told me, "He will become the President of the United States." Roy Rogers? I couldn't help thinking to myself, this isn't making any sense. So, I doubted my vision for many years. The angels told me, what you are looking at are the probable future events of your planet, but they don't have to happen if you are willing to change. Everything is in flux and can change when change is necessary individually and planetarily. I saw beyond the year 2000 and then I saw my own personal future, what I will be doing in the last moments of my life. Active, happy. I had mixed feelings and limited understanding of the meaning of this at the time. A torrential roar like a waterfall passed through my head. The gray fog came back. Then my eyes opened straight away. There was no tunnel on the return trip. I saw the inside of an ambulance. Voices fading away in my head were promising of future visits to me. 6 years later, in 1980, Ronald Reagan was elected President of the United States, an actor turned president. This was the cowboy I saw in the future prophecy with the initials RR emblazoned on his chest. In 1994, I discovered near-deather Dan wrote about his experience of being taken into a cathedral and shown future prophecy also. He saw, in 1975, editorial cartoons of a cowboy actor, and the initials RR under the presidential seal. This happened to him within a year of my NDE. Amazing. We saw the same thing near the same time. The only difference was Danny thought it was Robert Redford, I thought it was Roy Rogers. Incredible. We were both wrong, but we were both right also. This is what I call a significant coincidence. But wait. There is more. We were both born within a month of each other in the same year, and I had the dubious honor of graduating from the same high school and in the same class as Dan. Coincidence is a lazy word we use when we just don't see the bigger picture. In 1987, while learning from Grandpa Roberts, an 84-year-old Cherokee elder living in California, I fell ill. Grandpa saw my fever as not only a physical illness, but with his spiritual eye he saw it as an initiation. As he studied me, he became worried. He saw something powerful, but said only, "Many people die upon entering this place you are going, and the ones that survive are permanently mad." That didn't help much, but at least he told me the truth so I could brace myself. He said if I can't find love anywhere to at least leave the door open to love and he will be on the other side waiting. He directed me to go out to a sacred circle and survive it, alone. He was to do much needed ceremony himself from inside his pothouse. I was weak from alternating between one moment shaking from internal chills to sweating with heat. An owl called hauntingly. Some natives consider the owl a bringer of life, others, a messenger of death. The last time I passed out was 7 a.m. Then, I woke up dead. Although this experience is written about somewhat more in my book, Angels in the Light, I refuse to document it here, again, to not give it any more power, except to say I woke up suspended in the pit of hell. I was a mortal, caught between an immortal battle of good and evil. Evil was allowed the reins, for a time, to show me its nightmarish glory. The dark great-grandmother and dark great-grandfather came to me to show me their perverted version of creation and their history and purpose. I was their spawn, their chosen kindred. They wrapped their tentacles tightly around my cells and my soul. The Bible's protective charm does not work here, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Huh. What a cruel joke. You are stripped totally naked there. No protection whatsoever. Nada. No sword, no shield, no logic, not 1 ounce of love down there to hold on to. Fear and despair rule the dark day. The only hope left I could find was to not fear to the point of death by decimation, for you will be filled with terrors to a degree unknown by most mortals. Thanks be to the Eternals and Grandpa Roberts, I miraculously survived and regained my sanity. Only last week did I discover I had taken a journey of epic proportions, a universal myth. I had only a fragment of the Assyrian descent of Ishtar from the 7th century BC. Today, in September 2000, I have discovered a complete text of the Sumerian prototype called Inanna's Journey to Hell from before the 18th century BC. A full 7 of the 8 elements of the story are exactly what happened to me. I witnessed it firsthand, and furthermore, I can report the dialogue they were forbidden to report. I also have permission to report some of the dialogue of heaven, that which was previously forbidden by the words of Revelations 10:4, and when the 7 thunders had sounded, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Seal up what the 7 thunders have said, and do not write it down." Needless to say, now I am on fire with what Kimberly Clark Sharp calls woo-woos. Painfully, my mouth is shut to neighbors and friends. I see.